My sister emailed a document named My Own Birthday Costs. I just transferred $5,800. Then she announced, "No invitation for you. It's VIP exclusive." I chuckled and shot back. "Truly appreciated." Froze the joint card, voided the reservation, and emailed a new demand. Secure a different funder. 60 minutes on, 83 unanswered calls. Have you ever felt like you were just a walking ATM to your own family? Or worse, like you were paying to be invisible? Because I hit a point recently where I realized my family saw me less as a brother, less as a son, and more as an endless, bottomless bank account. And the way I found out, it was a betrayal I never saw coming, disguised as a birthday party. My name's Max, I'm 31, and for most of my life, I've been the quiet one, the steady one. The guy who knows everyone's shoe size, remembers the Wi-Fi password, and just pays for the Uber because, honestly, it's easier that way. In my family, my younger sister, Tessa, she's the star. She walks into a room, heads turn. Me? I walk in, and I'm usually already in the kitchen, cutting limes. I work in operations for a logistics company. Nothing glamorous, just lists and reminders, fixing things before they break. At home, that translated into a role. Ask Max, he'll know. Which, over the years, slowly, insidiously, became Ask Max, he'll cover it. We're not rich, but we're not struggling. My parents own a landscaping business. Summers meant me hauling bags of mulch while Tessa helped with social media. Guess who got paid in experience? I used to think it was normal, you know? Every family has a favorite. Maybe I was fine being background if the movie kept rolling. But then, my phone started lighting up for the same reasons. Max, can you front me rent? I'll pay you Friday, Max. I forgot Mom's gift. The brunch place only takes one card. It was always small enough that complaining felt petty. $40 here, $120 there. A temporary shared card on my account for Tessa's emergencies, like when she left her debit card in an Uber. I told myself, boundaries can wait. I told myself, family first. I told myself, I'm being a good brother. Then, 2 Fridays ago, I was making pasta, answering emails, when a Google Doc pinged into my inbox. The title actually made me laugh out loud at first, because it read like a joke, "Birthday budget for me." I opened it. It wasn't a joke. Lines and bullet points, pink font, emoji headings. Venue, loft, $3,400. DJ, non-negotiable, $1,200. Catering, $2,800. Outfits, me plus 2 changes, $900. Photo booth, neon sign, bottle service. My name was next to most of it. There was even a note. Don't be weird about receipts. I'll send them later. I stood there, staring at the steam from the pot, like it would spell out a better answer. My phone rang. Tessa's face, smooth with her favorite filter, filled the screen. "Hey, just sent you the doc," she chirped, like it was a grocery list. "You're the sponsor. You know, like you always say, you want me to feel special this year." I mean, I did say that. At New Year's, I'd said, "Let's make your 30th big." But big was clearly a very different number to me. "Anyway," she continued, already chewing gum, "I need to lock the loft by noon tomorrow. I told them you'd wire the deposit tonight." I hadn't said anything yet. I was still processing the part where my name had become an ATM pin. She blinked at herself on the screen, then added with a little smirk, "Oh, and don't invite any of your work people. It's VIP only, you know my crowd." Something in my chest went utterly, completely flat. I wasn't even on the guest list for the party I was being asked to fund. A second beep. Dad on the other line. I let it go to voicemail. The pasta overcooked. Tessa kept talking. "Mom says not to be dramatic. She said it's just money, Max. You're good at money." I pictured all the times she'd said that, with a shrug, like budgeting was a party trick I could do after dessert. "I'll look at the doc," I mumbled. "Perfect." She leaned into the camera like she could hug me through the phone. "You're the best. Don't make this complicated. It's my 30th. Then she said it again, softer, like it was a kindness. "It's VIP only." When the call ended, I stared at the ceiling, listening to the building's old pipes knock. My email pinged again. Reminder, payment details attached. I didn't click it. I put the pasta in the trash and washed the pot. My hands kept moving, like they always do when my head wants to stop. Later that night, I drove to my parents' place to drop off a spare charger Mom borrowed months ago. I walked in, and she was at the sink, smiling like a host. "You got the document?" she asked, too casual. "I did." She wiped her hands, patted my shoulder. "Good. Don't make it a thing." Behind her, Dad didn't look up from the game. "It's her big day," he grumbled. "You always say you've got her back." I stood there, that charger in my hand, feeling like a prop. Tessa wandered in, saw me, and without turning her head, said, "Don't be weird, Max. It's just the budget." That was the first time I heard the sentence I wouldn't stop hearing for the next week. Don't be weird. It's just money. I didn't become the family sponsor overnight. It happened slowly, like interest on a card you forget to cancel. When I was 19, Tessa got a parking boot. Crying, finals were coming. I paid it. At 22, her first apartment fell through. "It's just to hold it," she said. I put the deposit on my card. At 24, she got laid off for a month. I floated her rent, so it wouldn't ruin her credit. At 27, she wanted to start a gifting boutique on Instagram. Seed money for inventory. I gave her $1,300 with a simple spreadsheet labeled Loan, Tessa Repay Plan. She sent back a picture of a candle with Boss Babe on the jar and never opened the sheet. "Family doesn't do invoices," Mom said when I tried to bring it up. "Don't nickel and dime your sister," Dad added. So the debts became stories. Stories became expectations. Expectations hardened into roles. Meanwhile, I was building my own boring little life. I tracked every bill, paid off my student loan early by eating rice and eggs for a year, rented a place I could afford, saved 6 months of expenses. Nothing flashy, no exotic pictures, just stability. But with family, stability made me the safety net. If anything sagged, I was there. I can't count how many times I heard, "Max, you're so responsible," in the tone people used to say, "Max, you can handle it." 2 years ago, I even added Tessa as an authorized user on one of my cards after she called from a pharmacy in tears because her card declined for protein bars. I told myself it was temporary. I told her the limit was $300. "Promise," she said, nodding vigorously on FaceTime. "Only emergencies." Within a month, there was a $280 charge at a nail salon labeled VIP Chrome Set, and another $147 at a place called Glow Bar. When I asked, she said, "Self-care is an emergency." She sounded so sincere that I let it slide. I lowered the limit. She found a way to split charges across her debit. "Relax," she texted with a sparkle emoji. "I know what I'm doing." I stopped asking for repayment dates. Every time I tried, the conversation turned into a referendum on my attitude. "You always make me feel poor," she'd say. "You act like a banker," Mom would add. "Let it go, Max," Dad would say, hands up, peacemaker tone. "We're family. It evens out." It never did. So, when the birthday budget for me, Doc, arrived, it wasn't a surprise. It was the graduate-level version of a class I'd been forced to take for years. The doc itself was thorough. There was a tab for guest tiers with colored labels, VIP, Core, maybe. I was in Core, but next to my name, in parentheses, Work Vibe, not Party Vibe. There was a tab called Asks with deadlines. There was even a script for me to use when calling vendors, like I was her manager. Say, "Hi, I'm Max. I'm handling payments for Tessa's 30th. We can process today if you waive the 3% fee." There was a voice memo attached where she said, "Max, don't overthink this. You know I can't deal with details. You're good at them. Be helpful." I wired the venue deposit that night. $3,400. It felt like muscle memory. I moved $2,400 in savings around to cushion the hit. I told myself it was fine because Dad had said he'd handle the food and Mom said she'd cover decor. Then Dad texted me. "Food vendor wants payment in full to lock price. Can you front it? I'll pay you right away." I sent $2,400 because arguing with Dad at 11:52 p.m. makes me feel 12 again. Saturday morning, I wired $5,800 in total across 2 vendors. My name was on both confirmations. I made myself coffee and opened the doc to check off the boxes. That's when a new comment appeared from Tessa at the top. "FYI, Max, dress code is strict. You can come to the pre-party to help set up, but actual party is VIP only." I stared at the words, "Pre-party. Help set up. Not invited." I waited for the follow-up text that said, "Kidding." It didn't come. Instead, Mom called to talk linens. "I'm thinking rose gold," she said. "But not too gold. Tasteful." Am I actually not invited? I asked. She paused. Oh, honey, Tessa's friends can be particular. You know how you get about noise and crowds. It's better this way. I'm paying for it, I said. It sounded stupid out loud, like pointing out gravity. Don't be transactional, she said. It ruins the vibe. I told myself to breathe. I told myself to pick battles. I picked napkins. In the group chat, Tessa sent mood boards, captioning everything super helpful. When I asked a practical question, what about guest parking? She responded with a heart emoji and said, super helpful, like I was an assistant nailing my KPIs. That night, she came by my place to borrow a steamer and left with my steamer, my spare extension cords, and my measuring tape. Don't be weird about this, she said, hugging me at the door. It's just my 30th. You can do something for your birthday next year. I turned 31 in March, I said. Oh, she blinked. Right. The next morning, I woke up to a new doc, run of show. It had timestamps. 6 p.m. load in, 7:30 golden hour photos, 8 o'clock Tessa entrance with sparkler wall, 10 o'clock VIP toast, 11:11 angel numbers shot. At the bottom, in bold, payment balances due Friday at 3 p.m. Max knows. There was a smiley face. I kept waiting for someone, anyone, to notice how insane this was. Dad just asked if I could pick up dry ice because it's cheap if you know where to look. Mom wanted to know if I could print table numbers at work. Tessa added 2 more vendors, confetti cannon guy and champagne tower rental. Budget is getting tight, I texted. Don't be scarcity-minded, she replied. It's bad energy. That afternoon, she sent the line that finally hit bone. By the way, I had to tell the venue you're not staying for the party. It's VIP only. You'll make sure everyone gets inside, and then head out. Love you. I didn't answer. My hands went cold. In the mirror, my face did that thing it does when I'm upset. Blank, like a screen that's frozen on the homepage. I have a tells list in my phone for when I need to check myself. Jaw tight, shoulders up, breathing shallow. All 3 were lit. I drove to my parents' again. The house smelled like bleach and lemon. Tessa was at the table with swatches. Mom arranged fake peonies. Max, Mom chirped. Pick a blush. Tessa didn't look up. Did you send the DJ his retainer? He's threatening to release the date. I sent $5,800 yesterday, I said. I'd like to talk about the invite. Don't be literal, she said, finally glancing up. It's my birthday. It needs to be curated. Dad walked in with a bag of ice. Max, help me with the cooler. I stood there, feeling that old, familiar tug. Be helpful or be difficult. Open your wallet or open your mouth. I reached for the bag of ice. Tessa smiled, satisfied, and said to Mom like I wasn't there, he knows his role. And for the first time in a long time, the sentence didn't slide past me. It stuck. It stayed. He knows his role. The breaking point wasn't fireworks. It was a Tuesday at 6:12 p.m. in my living room, with the hiss of my radiator and the neon from the bodega across the street flashing. The DJ texted, need full payment by Friday or I release date. No exceptions. The venue emailed, final headcount and balance due Thursday, 3 p.m. Tessa pinged the doc, adding 12 more VIPs. Shouldn't change budget too much, she wrote. I called a meeting. I never call meetings. Group chat, 10:03 p.m. Dinner at mine. 6 p.m. Non-negotiable. Mom sent a thumbs up. Dad replied, traffic. Tessa wrote, make it quick. Fittings at 7:30. They arrived like they were late to a show. Tessa dropped a garment bag on my chair and started opening my cabinets. Do you have sparkling water? She asked. Sit, I said. My voice surprised me. Flat. Calm. I put my laptop on the table and opened the doc. I'd added a new tab, payments sent. Line by line, I'd listed the amounts, dates, vendors. Total at the bottom. $5,800 already out. $4,450 pending by Friday. Another $600 for surprise candles I refused to click on. Mom glanced at the total and winced, like at a bright light. Dad folded his arms. Tessa didn't look. I'm closing the shared card, I said. Mom's head snapped up. Don't be dramatic. It's not dramatic, I said. It's math. Tessa laughed like I'd told a dry joke. Max, you promised. I didn't, I said. And even if I had, promises made under pressure don't count as consent. Dad frowned. Pressure from who? From you? I said simply. From all of you. There was a small silence. It wasn't that anyone was shocked. I think they were irritated that I'd said the quiet part out loud. Tessa flipped her hair. Okay, but you already sent money. You can't back out now. That would literally ruin everything. I'm not backing out, I said. I'm stopping. Different verbs. Same effect, she sneered. You're sabotaging. I'm setting boundaries, I said. You're calling it sabotage because you're used to me not having any. Dad pointed at the laptop. Just finish this week and we'll settle up after. Like we settled up the boutique? I asked. The nail emergency? The rent floats. Mom looked offended. Are you keeping a ledger? Yes, I said. Because no one else is keeping track of my life but me. Tessa rolled her eyes. God, you're so clinical. This is a memory, Max. You want me to look back at my 30th and think my brother was stingy? You want me to look back and think my sister made me pay to stand outside? Her face twitched. It's VIP only. I know. My voice stayed even. So, here's what's going to happen. I'm closing the authorized user card tonight. I'm canceling the venue. My name is on the contract. I'll eat the deposit. That's on me for not thinking it through. I'm informing the DJ we're not moving forward with my card. And I'm sending you a new list with the subject line, find a new sponsor. Mom's mouth fell open. You wouldn't dare. I already did, I said. The emails were scheduled for 2 minutes from now. I typed them with coffee and a steady hand. Tessa laughed too loud. You're bluffing. My phone buzzed. A trio of dings. 3 emails sent. I let the sound hang in the air. Dad stepped forward. Max, this is family business. Exactly, I said. Which is why I want to say this to your faces and not in a text. I love you. I'm done paying to be in a room I'm not allowed to enter. I'm done being useful in exchange for being invisible. Tessa's eyes started to shine. Not with tears, with anger. You're punishing me. No, I said. Mom grabbed my arm, nails sharp. You are ruining your sister's birthday. I took a breath. Tessa, if you want a $9,000 party, you can have a $9,000 party. Use your savings. Ask your friends. Ask Dad. Ask Mom. But you can't ask me. And then tell me I'm not invited. That's not a party. That's a purchase. And I'm not buying it. She blinked like I'd slapped her. You're being cruel. I'm being clear, I said. Clarity feels like cruelty when you're used to chaos. Dad's voice went low. If you press send on those emails, don't come to my house this week. Then I won't, I said, and it came out steady. But I hope you'll still come to mine when you want to see me, and not my wallet. Tessa grabbed her garment bag. I knew you'd make this about you. I almost laughed. It already was. She stormed out. Mom followed, muttering, unbelievable. Dad stood there a second longer, like he wanted to say something older and kinder. He didn't. He closed the door a bit too hard instead. I stood in the quiet, listening to my radiator hiss again. Then I opened my banking app and removed Tessa as an authorized user. I sent one final email to the vendors. Please direct future communication to the client, Tessa, last name. I attached her phone, her email, her Instagram. Then I texted Tessa the new doc. Find a new sponsor. It had 3 bullet points, scaled down. Pay yourself. Invite who you can afford. I wrote one more line at the bottom. Super helpful. And then I put my phone face down. It didn't stay quiet for long. 12 minutes after the emails went out, my phone started buzzing. Private number, then Mom, then Dad, then unknown caller, then Tessa, then Tessa's best friend, ally, then ally again. By the half-hour mark, I had 27 missed calls and a wall of messages vibrating the table like a cheap speaker. I didn't pick up. I washed dishes. I folded a towel. I made tea. At 7:41 p.m., Dad texted, "Call me now." At 7:42, Mom, "You have no idea what you've done." At 7:45, Tessa, "Max, what is wrong with you?" At 7:46, ally, "You actually canceled the loft? Who does that to their own sister?" At 8:03, the venue replied, "Per contract, deposit is non-refundable. Booking canceled." At 8:07, the DJ, "Date released. Good luck." At 8:11, the confetti guy, "LOL. Okay." By 8:24, I had 83 missed calls. I finally picked up when Dad called again. Not because I had to, but because I was done letting my phone shake my table. He didn't say hello. "You apologized to your sister?" he said, voice tight. "For what?" I asked. "For humiliating her. I canceled a room I paid for. You paid for it because you promised." "I paid for it because I always do," I said. "That's the point." He exhaled hard. like a man who'd been forced to run. You think you're better than us because you have money. I don't have money, I said. I have boundaries. You just keep mistaking one for the other. Silence. Then he tried a different angle. Your mother is crying. I'm sorry she's upset, I said. She's allowed to be upset. So am I. Just come over. We'll talk. You said not to come if I pressed send, I reminded him. He made a sound. Annoyed. Ashamed. Both. Don't be petty. Petty is telling someone they're not invited to the party they're paying for, I said. This is me being precise. He hung up. At 9:02, a text from Tessa lit up the screen. A paragraph, broken up by line breaks for emphasis. Her style. You embarrassed me. You literally ruined everything. People are asking questions. I told them you had a panic attack. Be grateful I'm protecting you. I stared at that last line until the letters blurred. Protecting me. The way this family could turn any decision into a favor they were doing for me was almost impressive. I typed, deleted, typed again, and finally sent. I'm not a sponsor. I'm a person. There was no response for 8 minutes. Then, wow, therapy much? I put my phone on Do Not Disturb. I took a shower so hot my skin went pink. I slept like someone had closed a window that had been open for years. The next morning, the group chat was a mess of half-formed plans. Ally volunteered her boyfriend's cousin's backyard. Someone else said a restaurant might comp the space if influencers came. Mom posted a photo of a cupcake tower with the caption, "We can make it work." Underneath, 3 little dots. Then, Max, if you adjust, then she deleted it. By noon, a new doc appeared, pivot plan. It was chaotic. Wrong fonts, broken links, no numbers. For the first time, I saw the gears grinding without me. It looked like a group project led by no one. At 1:13 p.m., my boss pinged me on Slack. You good? You look focused today. I smiled at my screen. I am. At 2 p.m., I walked to a coffee shop and sat by the window. I watched people carry their own bags and pay for their own drinks and not owe anyone for existing. At 3:22 p.m., my aunt called. She never calls me. I don't know the full story, she said, breathless. But your mom is telling people you had some kind of episode. Do you? I have boundaries, I said. They look like episodes to people who are used to me saying yes. She was quiet. Then carefully, good for you. At 5:40 p.m., I got a Venmo request from Dad for $180 labeled cake. Surprise. I almost laughed. I declined, with a note. I'm not part of this. At 6:10 p.m., Tessa posted a story, her in a white suit in a mirror, captioned plot twist. The party goes on. At 6:14, she posted a screenshot of a text from me, my name blurred, the words find a new sponsor circled in red, plus an eye roll emoji. Her comments filled with people saying, men are so bitter, and family is supposed to support you. I put my phone face down again. I made rice and eggs and ate in quiet. Around 8 p.m., someone knocked at my door. I knew the pattern. Dad. He stood there with that look. Half apology he never says, half orders he can't help. Walk with me, he said. We went down the block. The air smelled like rain and fried onions. He shoved his hands in his pockets and didn't look at me. She's devastated, he said. I know. You could have handled it better. So could you, I said. He flinched, then covered it with a sigh. You were always the steady one. We leaned on you. Maybe too much. I waited. People love the phrase, maybe too much. It's almost an apology if you squint. He kept talking. Your mother? She doesn't always. She wants nice things for your sister. She wants them with my money, I said. He didn't argue. It's complicated. It's simple, I said. We walked in silence. A bus roared past somewhere. A kid laughed. He stopped and finally looked at me. You coming Saturday to, what, the backyard backup? He said, almost smiling, like it was a joke we were in on. I'm not invited, I said. He winced. That was dumb of her. It was honest, I said. And now I'm being honest back. He nodded once, slow. You always were like your grandpa. Stubborn. I always paid, I said. That's different. We stood there, 2 men with the same nose, pretending this was about weather. He started to speak, then didn't. He patted my shoulder and left. Back upstairs, I sat on the edge of my bed and let the quiet settle. There was loss in it. Not the dramatic kind, the slow kind. The kind where you realized the version of your family you were carrying around was a story you wrote to make something sharp look soft. Saturday came. The backup party went forward at Ally's boyfriend's cousin's yard. They managed folding tables and store-bought cupcakes and a Bluetooth speaker that cut in and out. Tessa posted heavily filtered videos with captions like, "If you know, you know." I watched exactly none of it. Instead, I went to the farmer's market at 9 a.m. I bought peaches and basil. I took a longer route home and passed a kid selling lemonade for $1. I gave him $5 and didn't have to justify it to anyone. I cleaned my apartment, the kind of deep clean that lets you find your own stuff again. I made a new budget doc, not for anyone else, mine. I removed the tabs with other people's names. I added one called Future and put 3 lines in it: therapy, travel, a chair that doesn't hurt my back. At 6 p.m., my phone lit up with photos from a number I didn't save. Tessa in sparkler light. Tessa with a cupcake. Tessa with the caption, VIP only. No crowd shots, tight frames. I put the phone face down and went back to chopping basil. Sunday morning, Mom texted, "We should talk. Family meeting at 5. I replied, "I won't be there." She answered, "Max, don't make me choose." I typed, "I'm choosing me." I hit send and sat with the way my stomach flipped and then settled. On Monday, my bank texted me an alert. Attempted charge, $612, glow bar. Decline. I smiled without meaning to. The system worked. On Tuesday, I got a polite email from the venue manager thanking me for being clear and prompt. The word clear landed like a warm towel. On Wednesday, I slept a full 8 hours and woke up before my alarm. The call slowed. The text shifted tone from outrage to negotiation. What if you just pay for the DJ? Just bring the champagne tower then. At least pay the cake. It's only $180. It's only became the phrase I started flagging in my head like a red tag. Nothing is only when it's everything. By Friday, it was quiet. Not peace, but quiet. I made dinner. I watched a dumb movie. I thought about nothing. It felt new in my mouth. Nothing. That night, around 11 p.m., my phone buzzed one last time. A message from Tessa. No punctuation. Just, "I need time." I stared at it for a long moment. Then I wrote back, "Me too." It's crazy how much changes when you finally decide enough is enough. I'm still figuring out what comes next, but I know one thing for sure. I won't be the family's ATM anymore. Have you ever had to draw a line in the sand with your family, even when it felt impossible? What would you have done if you were in my shoes? Let me know in the comments below. I'm really curious to hear your thoughts.